Hi, we are so grateful that you are here. My name is Kitty Chachra. Today we're going to talk about C&I solar, which is what I understand all of you guys do. I'm here with Dr. Pratik Malhotra and Prashant Gupta. And really, how do you manage a large and sort of also fast-growing portfolio with only your little team to do it? And that's our subject for today. Before we get going, let's start with some housekeeping. Pragya here is manning the booths. She's there for any questions, any technical problems, send them to her via the QA tab. She's going to be keeping us all on plan and on time and everything else. And so let's get going with this. So why is sort of CNI solar really different? And it is different because all of you are managing your customers, your O&M teams, as well as performance and expected to do all of that. So let's imagine we know it's Thursday morning. I've got my coffee ready. And usually I know that Monday morning when you guys arrive, you've got a bunch of sites over a bunch of states that you are managing, and before you even had that cup of coffee, before you even flipped up your all your inverter screens to see what's going on, you have customers calling you, you're seeing performance issues, and your O&M team is sort of like, what are we supposed to do, starting right up. And those are the questions that we at Quadrical address. And we have experience to do this. We are managing about 1,500 plants in 5 different countries with a customer, and we have really made this is exactly what we've made easy for them to manage. Let's just go through why is it so hard? There's just too many alerts. There's not enough context. There's each one has different DAS systems, and you've seen that, right? And each one of those little DAS systems have their own little quirks. Each one of the inverter companies that you are using have their own little quirks. There's data overload. There's O&M teams that need to be managed. And obviously, the most important, customers, right? You know that you've got uptime guarantees, performance guarantees, all of that. Plus, they're always calling you. Shh, don't tell them that though, right? And our promise and our difference is that we will give you visibility across your entire portfolio. We'll make it easier to manage O&M teams. The reason we can do that is because we can provide clear prioritization of issues coming from performance, so you know exactly what needs to be given to the O&M teams. And lastly, we've got invoicing, reporting, all of those tools built right in. So along with the data coming in, we can hand it over to, what you're discussing with your customers, you can do with the utmost confidence. And hopefully our aim is to get you from, just a bunch of sites to exactly here where you are being able to see real-time monitoring, the advanced analytics built in, you're even seeing your curtailment. The reporting is automated for your own teams. You've got portfolio dashboards, alerts to ticketing to workflows is pretty clear. And lastly, we have customer management tools as well, so that you can actually, all the reports and stuff is going from one source of data. I'm going to hand this over now to Pragya.
Thanks, Kitty. We have our poll results. So, all out of all the people attending today, we asked how many sites are in your company's CNI portfolio. And I'm not surprised we have a variety of people here. And 57% of the audience participated. Two of them have 700 plus sites. I'm sure it must be very difficult for you to manage. And few with 50 to 200 and few in the range of 1 to 50. So I would stop sharing the poll results now, move on to the next poll. And before we move on, over to you, Pratik.
Let me just, before we go to Pratik, let me just do a quick little introduction. Pratik is heads our data science team, and he's the one who builds out the deeper algorithms for our digital twin based analytics, not only for CNI but also for utility scale solar at Quadrical. He has a PhD in solar and machine learning from the LNM Institute in Jaipur, and we are just so incredibly always in awe of him, because as I'm always telling him, I think I have about 30% of the brains that Pratik Malhotra does. So we are really happy that he's here with us. So over to you, Pratik.
Yeah, Kitty, thanks a lot for discussion. Um, yeah, I actually completely agree with you. Actually, this is exactly the kind of morning that you were talking about, a Monday morning. Our platform is built for. On mornings like this, I don't open spreadsheets or call site team first. Instead, I open the map view or portfolio view to understand what's going wrong in the first glance. So currently we are at the map view. I can zoom in, zoom out at any location. So if I'm familiar with the location, I can hover over it, get an idea about all the aspects, how my plant is performing, how many alerts are there. We can add customized KPI as well so that we can get an idea what is going wrong immediately and highlight which geographies require immediate attention. We can also look at a portfolio level view. Now, this gives you exhaustive list of all the plants in your portfolio in a tabular format. This view is ideal for daily monitoring, benchmarking, and performance reviews across your entire portfolio. On the top, we have a status bar which shows you how many of your plants are running, not running, the total inverter counts in the portfolio, and also clustering them between running and not running, and the alert count in the portfolio level. Then multiple cards helps you analyze your plant performance immediately. So this view tells me within second which plant is behaving differently from the rest. So you can see I have a whole list of plants and they have their major site type, like which type of plant it belongs to, whether it is solar, wind, or battery, whether it is running or not, actual generation. And then I can also have a look at their generation values. So actual versus predicted generation comparison is very handy tool that helps you analyze as per my PVSys report or expected generation, what is the total generation as of now. Now I can look at the performance ratio here. We can see performance ratio of all the plants are really very high, but specifically for Delta it is low. Now I can get a deep dive into this plant to analyze what's exactly going wrong in this plant. So if I click on this Delta, it will direct me to another page that is the plant view page. Now since it is a plant specific page, I can select my plant from the drop down. I can go to plant details to see all the metadata and the geography of this plant. I can again close it. I can select the date range for which I need to do the analysis from the calendar widget. Again, I have multiple cards to analyze my plant performance. Now I have multiple components here. First one being the plant performance. Here you can see I have a double y-axis trends chart which helps me see the power active and the irradiation seamlessly. Now it helps me analyze whether my plant is going in a good condition or not because the irradiation and power active should follow like a shadow because there should be no shading or any other characteristic that should follow on a C&I. So we do a good check on it. Then I go to inverter data. So you don't need to check the complete fleet of inverters one by one. Instead, our system focuses on worst performers first. So in the current view, you see a set of inverters or the top 10 inverters that are worst performing. So you bring your attention first to them and then you can focus on the next one in order to enhance the generation to its maximum. You can also look at all the inverters. So on this current site, we have only 12 inverters. So you can see their performance ratio for the date. Now I can go to device performance. Now this gives me a bird eye view for all the devices in my platform. So you can see the energy generated by all the inverters in this heat map. Right now you can see the energy generated by these two inverters is low, but in the first glance, it could be because of the lower capacity as well. But these KPIs helps me analyze very deeply because it also includes multiple factors like capacity and insulation into account. So again, a heat map will pop up and that will help me analyze that finally whether these inverters are performing bad or not. Yes, they are performing bad compared to peers. So this is how we narrow down our approach from plant level to, portfolio level to plant level and then equipment level. Now let's go to device status. So it helps me analyze whether my devices are communicating or not. So this site is for India. Currently, it is not in operational hours, and hence I'm getting communication error for all the inverters. Now, finally, plant data quality. Since we are responsible for creating all the tickets and KPIs, it is very important to keep a good eye on the data quality. Here we have donut charts for plant data, inverter data, and weather monitoring system data. Usually, we cluster this data into multiple categories such as not available, constant, zero, erroneous, and good. All these are self-defined by their names, but still, erroneous means whether the data is below or beyond the physical threshold limits. And when we are very sure that the data is of highest quality, we proceed with further analysis. Now, let's go to trends page. So this is especially very useful when you are doing all the analysis at equipment level. There are multiple readings that we directly fetch from the SCADA, and in order to do a deep dive, you need to analyze the data on a time series scale with the trend chart. So currently, I have selected the Delta plant. In the left hand side, we can select the plant. We have a calendar widget here. If I select on any device, you will get to see it here and you can select the corresponding readings that are available for this device. You can go very deep into the complete tree hierarchy as well. Now, suppose I don't want to do analysis for just this one inverter. Instead, I want to analyze complete fleet of inverters. So I can select inverter here. I have all the inverters in place. I can select them all and now select a common reading for all these inverters. So let's say I have multiple readings, I have a search option. I want to proceed with power active. So power active is applied for all the inverters, date range is selected. So we have this active power for all the inverters. Now, you don't need to do this analysis every day. Instead, you can save it on a preset as well for today, yesterday, or last 7 days. So it could be quite usually the case that you want to analyze the performance of all your inverters for the past 7 days every morning. So if you click on last 7 days, hit apply, you will get to see all these powers for all the inverters. Now you can save it also in the saved analytics. So for example, if I want to save it as last 7 days for and save it. Now I can go to saved analytics section and you will get to see this new analytics that I have just saved. If you click on it, you will be redirected to the trends page with all the devices pre-selected, all the date range pre-selected, and the reading also pre-selected. And you will get to see this chart every time.
Okay, so when we go on to this, I think that really the deeper analytics is what feeds into, we're coming to the end, into the O&M. The reason why all of this works so well is the back end that we have built out. So I'm going to hand this over to Prashant Gupta, who heads our engineering team. And really, the reason why he's all of this looks so easy and fast, and you literally saw that boom, 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 is because of the extensive time Prashant Gupta has been with us from the beginning for about more than 5 years. Is the deep pipelines of data and the platform that our team has built. And this is where we have experience. I'll get into that later. But now handing it over to Prashant and to talk about the next stage, into how all of everything, all the analytics flow into alerts and then into tickets.
Yeah, thanks, Kitty. So, hey everyone. Uh, so basically, when you're managing, so as Pratik was mentioning, right? So you have a portfolio. How do you analyze your portfolio performance and how do you optimize that? One major effort in one major way to optimize that is by creating alerts. You can create different alerts and that bring out the issues from deep from across your portfolio to the foray, and you can just act on it quickly, right? And at Quadrical, we have a very powerful ticket alerting system with powerful rule management to create any sort of alerts that you want. All right, we can just go over here to the ticket view, and I am here graded with all the alerts and tickets for the site. For the purposes of this demo, I've just selected an interesting site here. So this is a site that's floating, right? It's floating on a pond, right? So the customer came us with a unique requirement of, okay, I want a very specific alert here, right? I don't want the depth of the water to go below 4 meters. If it goes below 4 meters, the orientation of the panels can go vary. right? So we quickly, in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes, right, we created this alert. As you can see, right, we created this alert. And let me just open it, right? So as you can see, right, water sensor was above 4, and something went wrong here, and it went just below this, right? And this was a very critical thing. Okay, what happened here? Was it a communication issue, or was it something actually went wrong? Right? So these sort of things, and when you have alerts, your O&M teams can manage this. Your O&M teams can assign it, assign change status, right? Assign it to certain people, right? The site people can go there, they can upload documents and add comments and everything, and basically do the entire O&M workflow right from the platform. So this very powerful alerting ticketing mechanism helps you optimize your site performance to the maximum. Thanks.
The last poll that we did was what's the hardest part of managing CI performance today? And I have two people who said none of the above. So I would really like to know how
Who
is
are
it
these
none of the,
people?
yeah, we would like to
Can
meet
you?
you.
Yeah, call
Yes,
me.
please just call us. So
Yeah.
portfolio visibility, 16% of the people say it's their problem. 42% say managing performance. Of course, it is managing performance. You have sites all over geographies, and coordinating O&M teams is 11%. Customer reporting is 26, and all of above is 32. So I think most of us agree that managing performance is not at all easy with CNI plants. It is indeed the hardest part. And I think Prashant's next take will give you a lot of answers on how do we help in managing performance. Before I switch over to Prashant, we have a few questions, open questions. So an anonymous attendee has asked, how long does Quadrical take to onboard assets? Prashant, would you like to answer this?
Yeah, sure. So, um, I can answer this by giving you a live question, example, right? A real world example. So we had a customer that moved to us from a different platform, and they had 1,300 sites, around 1,300 sites under operation, right? And we were able to migrate and onboard all those sites within around 6 weeks, right? So we have a very streamlined and standard approach to onboarding, and within so we can upload multiple sites in a day, right? And if you have in the previous poll, I saw that there were a lot of people with few people with more than 700 sites, right? So within a month and maybe less, your entire portfolio can be on Quadrical, and you can be benefiting from all the features that we're discussing.
Yeah. Just adding a little to it, right? That was a very large portfolio, and there was a lot of times where the data wasn't coming up to us very cleanly. It wasn't like it was all coming to us at once. It was, there was a lot of hassles and
Mhm.
piecemeal, but despite that, we did it in 6 weeks. And we know that as we do more and more large portfolios, that speed will only get a lot faster because we've automated a lot of the ways that we do it.
And there were multiple DAS systems as well. So this was not a single DAS system. Like there were around 10 or 12 different DAS systems that we had to integrate, right? And we seamlessly doing it.
Prashant, adding to this question, there's a question from Mr. He asks, we have everything on Excel. How will you help us move it? I think this is an interesting question.
Yeah, I think I have something coming up in the next section of this webinar, right? So,
Okay.
and in this poll also, I saw that 26 people were struggling with customer reporting and dashboarding. So that I have something for them just coming up.
And to top up your question, somebody has asked, six means 6 working weeks or weekend included?
I mean, for this side, this weekends were included, but
The team was working weekends, is what
yeah,
he's saying.
yeah,
Yeah, and it took us 6 weeks.
yeah.
Okay, sir, we would work weekends for you again. Okay, I will take up the questions post Prashant's session. So over to you, Prashant, again.
Sure. So as I mentioned, right, so I mean, we all know the pain of spending hours in Excel. Right? We've already covered how, when you have a portfolio, how do you manage performance? How do you optimize performance? How do you find the lost hotspots, right? Now, the other part of managing any assets is reporting, right? We all spend hours and hours every month just pulling all the data, right? And creating all those Excels that you have to send to management and even to your customers. If you're like plant managers, you have to send it to your customers, right? With Quadrical, you can automate away all of that, right? So I'll just quickly share my screen. Right. So I think we left it off here, right? So ticketing. So we have a bunch of tools to basically help you automate the reports, right? So let me just open reports here. So as you can see, right, so we provide a bunch of reports for you, and these are like drag and drop reports. So I'll just take an example of an out-of-the-box report that we give to you, a daily generation report. Right? So any solar asset, a DGR is the most basic thing. So I'll just click on edit here. And as you can see, this is basically a report with various widgets and visualizations, right? So I have some site metadata here. I have a bar chart with a line chart showing the trends of generation with insulation. I have some key performing indicators. So I have the last 7 generation of the site, the insulation received, and the PR. And even for the inverters, I have a heat map. Okay, for yesterday, how did my sites perform, right? So which was the outlier? So this is just a standard template that we can give out of the box. You can obviously basically edit anything. So if you want another KPI, you can just add another KPI here, right? Or if you want another widget or another visualization, I can click on add widget. And we have a whole lot of widgets, right? From text, time series, bar charts, lines, heat maps, images, anything on sort. So basically, any sort of rich report that you can think of, you can probably make it here, right? You don't have to export everything to Excel and make it there, right? Everything is automatically there. And when you save it, and you can just basically select a site. This can work across sites. You can select a site, and if you want, you can just download this as PDF right away, right? You can click on PDF and download. Or I can do one even better with the DGRs, right? Common use cases. Okay, I want this DGR to be sent to a certain stakeholder every day at a certain time, right? So scheduling is primary and table stakes for importing, right? And we provide very extensive scheduling capabilities, right? So I can just create a schedule. I can give a schedule name, right? Like schedule. I can select a report template. So I think I was looking at the DGR, so I'll use the DGR, right? I can add some descriptions. This is just this, and I can select a schedule type. They want to run it daily, weekly, or monthly, right? And the time zone, obviously. So because the portfolio can be global, right? When you're talking about the time, in which time zone are you looking at? And obviously then the email recipients, the CC and everything, right? An interesting thing over here as well is basically, let's say you're creating a single template and you want to send it to across different customers of yours, right? You're managing your O&M, or you're managing a bunch of sites, bunch of customers, you want to send them individual reports via the same templates. So with this, you can choose the logo of the schedule logo. Every report going out of this logo of this report would have this custom logo built into it. You can even customize the email subject and email body if you want, right? It would be automatically generated. It's optional here. But if you want, you can customize this as well. Be your liking. And when you create the schedule is here and you can manage this. Also, again, I showed you a standard report. I can go to a custom create a report. I can just save in a report. Right. I can select a site. This is optional. Then we're working with Delta. So I'll just see with Delta. The page size, orientation, portrait landscape. Right. So I have a webinar report here. I'll just go and edit. And I'm treated with a blank canvas. I can add logos, I can add logos, I can change the title, and I can add a widget. As you can see, all the widgets are here. You can even add a date selector so that when you're running the report, you can select the date range or the site selector. That was reported, right? If you want to take you out of Excel, you don't need Excel, right? Everything is here on platform. And for anything else, right? That's not easy to drag and drop, and that's not available. We have a complicated report section here as well, where you can request us as Quadrical to create this report because it's too complicated or has too many moving parts, right? And probably doesn't work well with this. But 95% of the use cases, this would easily solve. And we have real customers using this every day across 1,000+ portfolio. So we know this works. Right, moving on. So this was the reporting. So another part of managing any customer, right, or any management is creating those custom dashboards that you do in Power BI, right? So we have the plant view. I think Pratik mentioned a bunch of smart saved analytics and everything. But what if your customer or your management wants a completely unique dashboard, right? They may be in the finance team, they may be in such so and such teams, right? Operations and everything. And everybody requires a custom viewer. They don't want to go looking for it. They just want a single dashboard that they can just code. So we have this thing for you, right? The custom dashboards here, right? This is basically an extension of the widget, right? You can, instead of this, we provide a drag and drop capability of basically creating a custom dashboard. This was a dashboard that I did before the meeting for this demo, but yeah, just to show the capabilities, right? We have beautiful graphs here. We have tables, we have bar charts, we have line charts and everything, right? We can select a date range and everything. I can go and edit this, edit the dashboard, and then add widgets, right? And this has even more widgets because scatter charts, heat maps, mix charts, image widgets, right? You can add site information, right? We can create a pie chart with the alerts and tickets that we create, right? Histograms, waterfalls, and we can even add a clock and a roast chart. So this makes sense for wind side, but yeah, a roast chart if you want to do anything against wind direction, right? And when you click on save, right? I click on save, then I can go back and I can, similar to the saved analytics that we shared, right? I can either make this public or I can share it to the user. So if you're creating this dashboard for a certain set of users, right? You can share this one with users. So when they log in, they don't know how to do anything. They have the custom dashboard with them, right? And everything that they are looking for specifically is there already. So we've taken away Excel and we've taken away Power BI and Tableau. Everything is on the platform. You don't need to go anywhere else. And just want to discuss another special use case that we got. So when we have a lot of these sites, right? For even in an offices or in a customer's office, there's huge television sets, right? The huge screens there with slideshows running. And a lot of times what people want is they want to see the sites on that slideshow on the huge television. They want to see a desk with live performance metrics, how much is he generating, right? And everything, what sort of data in beautiful format as a slideshow, right? And with Quadrical, you can do this right from the platform, right? You go to slideshows here. So there's a public slideshow. I think we were discussing the KitKat side with the dashboard. So I'll just add a slide and I'll just give a taste of what all can you do. So this is a slideshow here, right? With all the basically headline cards, the line charts and everything, right? You can add custom backgrounds to it, make them transparent or not, right? Even I can go to the next page, right? So I go to the next page and all these are loaded.
Yeah. It's really a nice to have to offer your customers as well,
Yeah.
right? Because it makes them feel good about what they're doing, and it's something it makes them feel good. It makes you feel good, and it's an easy way to offer them something that it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Prashant. Keep going.
Yeah, and obviously you can go full screen, and this slideshow will then run automatically. The slides will keep on cycling on, and you don't need to do anything with it, right? And another good thing and a quality of life item that we added was in a lot of the screens, right? It's very difficult for someone to go there and log in to the dashboard and then select the slideshow and put it full screen, right? So we added a quality of life thing that, okay, instead of doing all that, we'll create a public URL, a single URL that directly opens this dashboard, right? This does not require any authentication, anything. You just go to your big screen, open this URL, keep it in full screen. I'll keep it in full screen, and you're done. This would keep on moving and moving and moving. And whatever dashboards and slideshows you want with your site information, it's there. So this makes it very powerful, right? The data is not sitting on a platform, on a dashboard, right? On some other report. It's on your televisions, right? In a beautiful form. Yeah, that was it on the reporting and the operations management. Over to you today.
Okay, so thank you for the demo, Prashant. I have a set of questions from the audience. I'll be asking them one by one. So the first one is there a drag and drop feature that allows me to select widgets based on my requirements? Also, are these KPIs customizable according to my needs, or are they fixed templates provided by Quadrical? Pratik Malhotra, would you like to take this up?
Yes, that's a great question. Yes, we definitely have the capability to drag and drop these widgets. And we do have a lot of already customized templates available, a lot of widgets available. That almost covers the basic needs and also the advanced needs as well. But our system is completely flexible for any type of widget creation, any type of graph creation that are available across the portfolio. So yes, any type of graph that is required to do any type of analysis, we can custom tailor it.
Yeah, and also the KPI part, that's an important part, so, right? What I'm showing you here is the measurement manager, and these are all custom KPIs that we added, right? So we have a JSON-based language that we've created in-house. It's a proprietary language that we've created, and you can just, in a step-by-step manner, right? You can do step one, step two, step three, and you can define your KPIs right on the platform. You can view them. So there's no more question of how is this being calculated. You can just go and see how it's being calculated, right? It's quite easy and it's quite sophisticated that way as well, right? You can create very complicated KPIs with it. With Excel formulas, you're just there, right, in a single line writing all these formulas. It's quite a structured language there, and you can create quite complicated formulas with it as well.
Okay, so adding to this, there is a question from Mr. Vikram Singh Bhati. How do you manage alarms and warnings from different OEMs? Do you have a mechanism to standardize this?
Yeah, absolutely. So we basically, okay, there are two types of things, right? We receive an alarm from the SCADA or from the inverters, right? And those alarms, we have a attribution mechanism to basically standardize those into standard categories. So, and then we create events out of it, right? So those events, similar to the alerts we created, these are custom rule alerts that Pratik showed, that we showed. There are also events there, right? So any events that are coming out of the SCADA systems or your inverters can directly come out here. So you don't need to worry about discreting rules. Those are automatically input as well.
Okay. Prashant, one more question from Mr. Utkarsh. Is there any automated alerting system you guys are managing to avoid missing any data delays, telemetry issues? Thanks.
Yeah. So basically, we have in the rules, right? We have communication issues that, so whenever there's a communication issue, let's say there's a missing issue, right? As Pratik showed in the data quality, there can be some missing data or any data, right? It automatically creates an alert for it, right? At any level, we can obviously set it for you. And in the tickets view, we can create an alert for it. So every time there's a communication issue of, okay, the data is missed here, and it's an important parameter, it's a tag, we can create an alert on it. And obviously, and we can escalate this. So we have an escalation matrix as well, and we can escalate this to various levels because it's an important tag, right? For data delays and everything, the Quadrical ingestion platform has automatic alerting setup. So we have status dashboards and we can set alerts on that. Okay, certain delays not expected, and we can get an alert on it that we're getting delays because we're not getting data from the remote systems.
Okay, so the system alerts. Okay.
Yeah,
I hope
as part of the
I
ingestion.
hope the question is answered. Additionally, Mr. asked that how are tickets managed once they are generated? For example, if hundreds of tickets are created overnight, how does the system handle prioritization, assignment, resolution? How is that? If you can explain the ticketing process.
Yeah, I'll just I can we obviously we will go into a lot of detail with there. It's a quite big questions here. So, but for the interest of time, I'll just summarize this. So basically, uh, with the alerts, we have deduplication already there. So we have a plant hierarchy, and if there's a alert at the parent level, we obviously don't create alerts at the child level. So in that one level, right, we have removed a lot of noise there, right? We also don't create alerts just based on like one tick. We have stats-based alerts as well, right? So we can create a window, and if a window has a certain threshold that meets for those events, only then create an alert. So that also eliminates a whole lot of noise, right? That for a certain, like for certain 1 or 2 minutes only it went out of sync, and you don't really care about it. If it's consistently maintaining that behavior, then only you want to look at. So those are some of the, I mean, obviously, as I said, we can go into a lot of detail here, but just to give you some idea of how we do things here.
I think we have another idea for our upcoming second webinar. We will discuss
Mhm.
ticketing in a lot more detail
Yeah.
because I have a lot of more questions related to that. I am going to take up another one. So this is interesting because this is from Brazil. In Brazil, especially in small and medium-sized power plants, data sometimes comes from multiple sources such
Mhm.
as OEM, inverter monitoring platforms, Modbus, and other devices, often without a centralized SCADA system.
Yeah.
How does does the platform manage and consolidate these different data sources to build a reliable operational overview?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So, as part of the Quadrical platform, also we provide a data logger and a data acquisition system as well. We are on our own, right? So we support Modbus, we support OPC UADA, we support MQTT, we support even reading from SQL, right? And the beauty for all it is, as part of the onboarding of from various sources, everything is standardized from the platform, right? So as per the so this is part of the onboarding process. Everything is standardized. So when you go to the, let's say, I go to the analytics section here, and in the trend section, you won't really notice that, okay, maybe the WMS is coming from the different system, right? Maybe zero export meter is giving a separate from a separate model system, and maybe the inverters giving there's a SCADA on the inverters, and we are getting inverters from different from the SCADA. Everything is standardized, all the names are standardized, everything is available on the measurement manager as to where the data is coming from. So all that is handled as part of the onboarding process.
Okay, so the next one I think is for Pratik Malhotra. For small and medium CNI plants, do we require additional hardware or inverter API will suffice?
I think Prashant can better answer.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's more of a Prashant question. Yeah.
yeah, so basically, yeah, we support Modbus, MQTT, OPC UA. We support MQTT and APIs as well. We've done a bunch of API integrations, right? We've done integration with SNA APIs. We've done integration with Huawei APIs, right? So we've done integration with the APIs that are provided by all these different OEMs and inverter manufacturers, right? It's quite easy, and it's readily available for us. Once you give us the credentials, right, we'll start pulling in data automatically. So if you have an API access, you don't need the hardware, we can just pull it from the API.
Okay. So another question is, how flexible is your platform in adapting these models over time? Can they be fine-tuned or retrained per portfolio as asset behavior, operating practices, or data equality evolve?
Yeah, so if I understand this question, so as the data comes in, right, you want to change things and tweak things, right? So uh, let me know if I understand this question correctly. But yeah, we have those custom dashboards and custom KPIs and custom reports. So in terms of visualization, obviously we are quite flexible. Even in the rules and alerts, everything is available to you. So let's say you have an alert created, right, for a certain based on a certain KPI, and the data drifts and the behavior of that KPI changes, and you want to tweak that alert. It's readily available on the platform as part of the rule manager here, right? So you can just quickly modify and alert this, right? So those
Okay.
alerts are also there. And obviously, I mean, we do it for utility, but we have the digital twin, right? The digital twin is an AI-based technology, and that automatically adapts to the changes, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
we do a lot of fine tuning over that. We keep a track and keep an eye on the data drift and modal drift. So whenever there is a certain beyond threshold drift, we do a retraining and fine tuning.
Yeah.
So it is always up to date.
Yeah.
Okay.
But but it generally applies more to utility where there's hundreds of inverters and all of that, right? With CNI being generally smaller with not as much depth to it. There's a level of you can drive a Ferrari, but trying to drive it in a city where you can only drive 60 miles an hour or whatever, it's not really helpful, right? So we've adjusted things for where they work best.
I think the next question summarizes it better. How do you ensure that ML models trained on one CNI portfolio don't break when applied to another with different OEMs, geographies, or O&M cultures?
Yeah, so definitely they cannot be directly translated from one site to other. So we create ML models that are site specific, and that is obvious too, right? So we have multiple type of inverter makes, module makes, and that too in different geographies of the world. So each equipment has its own behavior. We need to train the model on its historical data. It tries to understand its behavioral patterns, how it operates. Means it is really very different. Every module have different efficiencies. So model needs to learn the particular behavior. So it cannot be translated to multiple site. Instead, we create a specific site specific and equipment specific models.
Okay. So again, how do you deal with communication loss? How do you manage data loss? This is again an anonymous question.
Yeah,
How do
so
you manage data loss?
think yeah, I already answered some form of it. Basically, we have alerting systems there. So we alert and create alerts and tickets out of it, right? So, and if you use the Quadrical data logger, right, and the Quadrical logger has a store and forward capabilities in it. So if you deploy this logger at site, the data, even if for network outages and everything, the data is stored locally and there's no data lost, right? We spool the data locally, even for days and days and months, the data is locally stored. And once the network comes back up,